Flashpoint Radio, rise and shine. Your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Good morning and welcome to the breakfast hour. It is a beautiful Friday morning. Now, this day is significant for many persons. Of course, the 4th of July is a big holiday in the US, and it is also a good friend of mine's birthday. I never, ever forget her birthday. Good morning, Sandra, over there in New York. Good morning. And viewers, it is the breakfast hour, and you are indeed tuned into Flashpoint this morning, where we plan to bring you good vibe and energy to get your weekend starting and to close, of course, the end of another week. How has it been for you? How was your week so far? Morning, Mikey G.
Good morning, Lady Alice. And as you mentioned, birthdays and special days today, we always ask that anyone who have those special birthdays or days that you want to celebrate, please just simply send them on to Flashpoint Media and let us do your celebration. Of course, you can send us those information by sending them to flashpointradioja@gmail.com, and that's simple. And of course, if you do want to send a text message and make it a little simpler, using the WhatsApp number, you can just simply go to 1345-321-6969. Send those numbers, send those information in, and we will have your special days and events on our community notice board in a jiffy. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the breakfast hour.
Welcome to the breakfast hour.
All right, so this morning, ladies, it is important that we start off, of course, with our devotional, as we usually say. And of course, we're going to be going to our devotional right now to the lady Susan Long. This morning comes to us every morning right here. Of course, this segment of the breakfast hour is brought to us by M&M Construction for all your construction needs right here in the Grand Cayman Islands.
Looking to build your dream home or renovate your space? M&M Construction is the perfect place. We bring your vision to life with precision and quality craftsmanship. From design to construction, we guide you every step, ensuring seamless coordination and superior results. Our professional roof inspection and maintenance services will ensure that your roof is sturdy this hurricane season. So, if you are ready to start your construction journey, call us today at 345-927-7509. Build with confidence. Build with M&M Construction. 345-927-7509.
Time for our devotional, brought to us by the lady herself, Susan Long. It is appropriate that we begin the breakfast hour in this sort of way, and not only that, it sets the right tone and mood for what is going to happen this morning on the breakfast hour.
Good morning. This is day 2. Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Foolish Baggage, written by Dave Egner. In 1845, the ill-fated Franklin expedition sailed from England to find a passage across the Arctic Ocean. The crew loaded their 2 sailing ships with a lot of things they didn't need. A 1,200 volume library, fine china, crystal goblets, and sterling silverware for each officer with his initials engraved on the handles. Amazingly, each ship took only a 12-day supply of coal for their auxiliary steam engines. The ships became trapped in vast frozen plains of ice. After several months, Lord Franklin died. The men decided to trek to safety in small groups, but none of them survived. One story is especially heartbreaking. 2 officers pulled a large sled more than 65 miles across the treacherous ice. When rescuers found their bodies, they discovered that the sled was filled with table silver. Those men contributed to their own demise by carrying what they didn't need. But don't we sometimes do the same? Don't we drag baggage through life that we don't need? Evil thoughts that hinder us, bad habits that drag us down, grudges that we won't let go. Let us determine to lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. The world has lost its transient lore, its evil spell I shun. I'll set my course for higher things till earth's brief race is run. Our quote this morning reads, "Keep out of your life anything that would crowd Christ out of your heart." End quote.
Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee. Yes, it's me, Earthquake. I come in Tuesday around 10. No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced. And when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't go to the doorway or any exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care of yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, don't want to run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
Need help to produce your podcast? Flashpoint Media makes it very easy. We can relieve you of the headache by recording your podcast for you. So, take the first step to getting your content to your desired audience. Contact us here at Flashpoint and your podcast will be live in no time. Our website is www.flashpointmedia.ky or call us at 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969.
This is Fresh Talk, the uncut edition. Say it just how you feel it.
No filters, no fluff, just real talk with the full Flashpoint fam. Get with it.
hot takes to belly laughs. The crew is locked in and ready.
From debates that might get a little spicy, including all VIP members.
This is where vibes meets voice, jokes meets truth, and we talk truth.
We are here to get real.
It's raw, it's real, and it's about time.
Small island, but big conversations.
This is Flash Talks, the uncut edition. Flash Farm. What are the things then now?
Real people, real voices, real conversations.
Flash Talk, the uncut edition, at 7 p.m. every Thursday, right here on Flashpoint.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Rise and shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
Welcome back. It is, yes, it is the 4th of July. It is All Gospel Family Friday. And what a lineup of things we have to do this morning. We frequently mention how time seemed to be just spinning so quickly. Already the 4th of July, we're in the 7th month of the year. We have successfully ended the first month of the hurricane season as well. June 1 marked the beginning of the hurricane season. And if you are living here in the Cayman Islands, or if you're in this zone at all, you know we are on our toes, at the edge of our seats, just listening to the weather reports, trying to figure out what's going to happen next. But we always remind you here at Flashpoint that it is important for us to be prepared each and every time, each and every day. Not just wait for the hurricane season, but if you're going to pick up some foods, just a reminder, pick up an extra can of something that you will be prepared just in case we had a power outage or any weather situations happening.
We understand that there are some tropical waves in the Caribbean and in the region, and some of them have become active already, at least by not hurricanes but storms or depressions, and many of them are being tracked or being watched now, and to see how active this hurricane season will become. But of course, as usual, we don't have any tracking on earthquakes, and so we always try to say always be vigilant. For earthquakes, we don't yet develop the tracking yet for saying this is where an earthquake is going to hit and this is how it's going to come. And that you wake up one morning and a 7.5 magnitude just passed through with a tsunami, and the entire place is gone. And that's how that works. So we have so many disasters, and it is a little bit frightening to know that these things are even possible to happen. But with all of this happening, we take heart in saying that God is always taking care of us, no matter what.
And you know, Mikey G, the conversation just let me think a little bit about the wars that are happening. These are some serious disasters.
Because
people sleeping in their beds and there's a bomb. They have to leave their homes, and I mean, they are buried under rubbles.
That was terrible for me when I was doing a program for Eastern SDA Church on Sabbath, and of course, when I was finished in the evening, I got the news that there was a what do you call it? Bombardment. Is it bombardment? You call it?
But Mikey G,
bombing.
As people, even though it's all Gospel Friday, we recognize that our situation that we face, sometimes persons are having a totally different struggle. They wake up in the morning and what was suddenly peace is war. I don't remember if you remember, there was a guest I had on Sensational Sunday, and when he told his story, I need to get back in touch with him. He was away
about Ukraine.
Yes.
The doctor.
He was studying medicine,
Yes.
and he was on the phone with his mom when he heard the first sound of bombing, and trying to leave the country, walking for miles and miles and miles to get to the border, to just get onto a train to get out. And when he finally reached home, what a sigh of relief. But it was, an experience like none other, fearing for his life, going innocently, just studying, just wanting to study. And we are talking about natural disasters and how they affect us, and how we should respond and how we can be prepared. And even with that, you know what I say? Preparation, the mental preparation that we know that life is indeed uncertain, or the next step, the next moment. So we live in a state of constant preparedness. Every moment we say, Lord, please lead and direct. Forgive me for what I have done, and let us just live purposefully. Right? So anyway, it's all Gospel Friday. It is a beautiful Friday morning. I don't want
I know you're jumping away, and I know you don't want to talk about it so much. And yes, I wanted to just say to Mike to just say that how much I felt really horrified when I heard about the Iran situation, and they were sleeping in their beds and this happened. And it was like saying, we did a good job, we striked, but these are people who lost their lives. I don't know what gives us the right to do the things that we do, whoever does it. It doesn't matter who do it. And so we find that wars and all of these things are constantly occurring from one side to the next. I don't know, this is just normal. And I'm sure that the Iranians would have done some very dangerous things to some other persons before, and now this is happening to them. Does it justify it happening to them because they did it to somebody else, or vice versa? But I wake up in the morning and I recognize that this was happening, and I was basically in church, in a sense, in a temple when this was happening. It could be me sitting in a temple and something go off and I would be no more, which probably would be the best place to be if something like that's happening, considering that it's God's house, But we have so many turmoils going on. Today is the 4th of July. Why is it 4th of July? Why is it celebrated? And of course, we talk a little bit more about those things. It's all Gospel Friday, it's Family Friday. We talk a little bit about the family, the home, how it's run, the structure of it, why some things happen, how we behave towards each other, and how we can do better to make it a better place for all of us to live. All right, so when we come back, we'll have that discussion, that conversation.
I'm Audley Scott, and you're listening to Flashpoint Radio, Rise and Shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun, with Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, Their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426.
Special day. It's July 4th. Whether you're American or just sharing in the spirit of freedom, there's something here for all of us. July 4th, or Independence Day, marks the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. 13 colonies declared their freedom from British rule, igniting a global conversation about liberty and equality. But July 4th isn't just about history, it's about values. The courage to break free, the strength to stand up for what's right, and the unity it takes to build a better future. Across the world, especially in the Caribbean, we may not celebrate American independence, but we resonate with its spirit. The quest for freedom and self-determination is a story we all share. So today, as fireworks light up the sky, let's ignite our commitment to values that matter: freedom, respect, dignity, and hope. Independence is not just a moment in history, but a mindset.
All right. It's a mindset, not just history. Ladies, what's going on in the Grand Cayman Islands today? I mean, we know that Cayman is not the American people, or many Americans live in the Cayman Islands. So let me put that together first, because we have over 195 ethnicities that lives within the Cayman Islands border, a small country with a vast, diverse group of persons living together. Sometimes not so together, but still living together.
Why do you say these things on All Gospel Friday? But that is the situation. That is a situation the world over, Mikey G. We may cohabit, but there is certainly not that unity. But
yeah, I'm saying, unity is very interestingly important, but it's only important when some persons are benefiting. When others are not benefiting, when they are not benefiting, unity not so much. Let's be united and in one accord do this great thing. But when all of that is finished, the separation, the segregation, and all the rest of it comes out, and everybody is on a different set of planes. Nobody's, it's a difficult thing to say, and it's hard not to say it because it is true. And not because it's true, it is okay. Sometimes people don't want to hear just simply that this is happening and that you are involved in this kind of activity. And you are that person who is now being marked as the individual who is perpetrating, this is the word I'm going to use, perpetrating those nefarious actions against others, right? But we want unity. And we want that love to spread around in the atmosphere of inequality and disunity at the same time. So, a difficult sell, it is.
It is a difficult sell, but certainly.
Let's do it. Let the games begin.
Well, what we did yesterday on Flash Talks is at the end of the program, we recognize how each individual, one person at a time, make a difference, and that translates even to the discussion that we are having. So while we find that the world or our community or where we live the majority of persons may not have that unity, what can we do as individuals with our neighbors, with our colleagues? We can be the change we want to see.
We can.
Right?
We can, yes.
We
can
can.
be that change. Yes.
We not only talk about the things that are happening and the negative things, but how can we change it? I want to say a special good morning to the man Mario. I'm still going to start calling him the Flash Talk man. A special good morning to you and to all our listeners tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, or if you're logged on the radio or web radio, www.flashpointmedia.ky. Now, I don't know if this holiday, the 4th of July, is the biggest US holiday, because certainly if you should check out Google this morning, Google is written in the flag of the US flag. And of course, certainly there is talk of fireworks. Fireworks, are a big thing for today, and there were barbecues and I'm sure a lot of activities happening on this holiday. So, for those persons who live and work in the US, then they have a long holiday starting today. But if you're in the Cayman Islands, you should already be on your way to work. If not at work, it's not a holiday there. But I have good news for you. We have an holiday. This Monday is Constitution Day right here in the Cayman Islands.
Well, it is, as you talk about the holidays and how much, people are having the festivities and the activities around that celebration. I remember the story of the prodigal son, and he returns, and the question was asked, who is the most disappointed, the saddest of all the persons, who was the saddest of all when the prodigal son returned home? And the big question, you know the answer to that question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, what's the answer?
I think maybe the big brother.
The big brother. And I know many people say that. And the big celebration that came out. And so the big brother would be the one who would be the saddest, because he didn't want the brother to come back home and, again, what he was supposed to get, because he took his inheritance already. But I'm going to submit that there's some... There's another very disappointed or unhappy entity that exists in this one. I'm going to reveal it quite quickly. And so we want to say the fatted calf who was slaughtered didn't have a good idea, wasn't feeling happy about that,
No, you're right about that. You're right
and
about
so as
that.
I said that, Lady Elise, I remember we are listening to the conversation. Over 1 billion sausages will be eaten at these holidays. And you know where I'm going already, right?
I know.
So over 1 billion sausages. Sausages alone, just sausage, jizz, is going to be eaten on this holiday. All right. So I guess with that said, I don't know.
With that said, let me just share a little bit of information regarding Constitution Day. Now, Constitution Day in the Cayman Islands is celebrated on the first Monday in July and commemorates the introduction of the island's first written constitution in 1959. This year, 2025, the holiday falls on Monday, July 7th. It's a public holiday, meaning businesses and government offices are closed, and is observed with official political speeches, cultural events, and other celebrations highlighting the importance of the Constitution. So on Monday, it will be Cayman's time for a holiday. Today, July 4th, is a big US holiday. It's Independence Day in the US of A. Good morning, listeners and viewers. We have a lot to share on the breakfast hour this morning, because we haven't forgotten that we also focus on the family. It's all Gospel Family Friday.
Lady Lisa, I had a question in my mind when it pops up. We are celebrating the independence of the United States of America, and of course the colonialism from the colonial rule from Britain.
Yes.
We know that colonialism exists all over the world.
Yes.
Do you believe that every country that begs their freedom from colonialism should get it?
Yes.
How come Jamaica still have a Governor General linking Jamaica to the Queen when we're independent?
Well, that situation, do you know that there's active discussion, beyond active discussion about Jamaica becoming a republic?
Jamaica having a Governor General means that the British monarchy still controls Jamaica, even after colonial rule ended way back in 1962, and later on I think in 1960, what was that, 64, 66, when was the independence? I don't remember the year for that, but we talked about this emancipation and then independence, but then yet still we do still have the Queen of England, the King would be, or the monarchy still have hold, grip on Jamaica. Is it so hard to let go of these countries, or is it that you just want to manipulate the narrative through your diplomatic means? I mean, this is just how I see this. It's just wrong. 100% wrong.
But I hasten to say that things are changing, one, and it brings to mind, with all the celebrations that are happening, it brings to mind the song by Bob Marley. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. No, but yourself can free your minds. We think that way, and we started a conversation. We start to talk about unity and how we can be the change we want to see. And I've heard persons talk about this crab in a barrel mentality that we have, that we are not united for the greater good of. And it's a unfortunate. Don't use that description to refer to anybody that I know, any colleagues, any friends, or anybody in my country.
Yes.
I would rather to know that we are united, and unity indeed is strength.
Well, so you know what we know for a fact is that unity don't just come because we want it.
No.
We know that even enemies can be united for a common good, even when they're enemies.
Yes.
And so there must be something greater than our personal grievances that cause us to want. What we know for a fact is that we have always been our worst enemy, and so unity is not always the best thing for us. Somehow we don't know how to do that. And it's not Jamaicans I'm talking about.
Yes.
I'm talking about people of my skin tone. And when we look at even within the Caribbean, other places,
yes,
you will find that we will find a way to divide ourselves again by race, not by race now, but by country. By being from a person, a certain country. If I'm Barbadian and then you're Guyanese, I don't like you. Or if you're Guyanese and Barbadian, Guyanese don't like you. Whatever that you can find to say,
yes,
you will do it. Just because you are one different country, you are still the same color, the same background, you came from the same place, ancestry, but because of where you're living, you find yourself thinking that you should be hateful to somebody else and segregate yourself, and you'll find reasons to do it. But having said that, if we could find ourselves united, we'd be surprised to see what we can achieve. All Gospel Fridays, all is Family Friday, so I guess we can just leave it there. And this is the element of family, though, you know, it is. Where if not united as a family, we will never succeed.
Yes, and the same translates to family. So remembering that it's all Gospel Friday. Good morning, Lady Coralie. Good morning, Henry. Yes, Henry, the Flash Talk man, not Mario Henry. Morning, Henry. This is Liza, and there is a hole in the bucket.
Of course, when we come back. All right, so it's all Family Gospel Friday, and it's Family Friday this morning.
Yeah, and I want to just encourage our listeners and viewers to just send us a message. Let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Is it a bright, sunny morning if you're in East End, or if you're in West Bay, or if you're in Georgetown? Tell me, what is it like outside the studio? Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Is it wet? Is it snowing? Let us know. And for our VIPs that are tuned in all over the globe, listen, I got a message on one of our YouTube pages, and this person has always said good afternoon when it's good morning. Oh no, the person says good evening. And so I responded, good afternoon. And he responded, it's evening here in Indonesia. So if you're listening from Indonesia, good evening to you. If you're in the UK, I remember Lady Nikki over there in London. Good afternoon. Or is it still morning? It might be still good morning. Good morning, wherever you are. If you're in Canada, if you're in US, or if you're in Jamaica, Cayman, wherever you find yourself. Morning to you, afternoon. Welcome to the breakfast hour. It's all Gospel Family Friday. We're getting into the discussion. We have some video clips that we want to share.
I'm
waiting on Mikey to say.
I also want to give a shout out, ladies. If I want to give a shout out to a young lady, just 16 years of age. I'm going to just give her age now. And her name is Bethany Bailey. This is her name, right? This young lady is a crown jewel of Jamaica. She wants to be a forensic pathologist. And I'm telling you, so I've already named her Dr. Bethany.
Morning, Dr. Bethany. And just got news that it's bright and sunny over there in Kingston, Jamaica.
All right, so let's get into the whole thing. I think we need to let's go to our first highlight this morning. We're just going to talk a little bit. We're just going to have a light conversation. Just listen to this stuff, talk about them. And if you can smile. They are humorous. It's humorous sometimes to see where we are and how we have gotten here. It's even more crazy. You should laugh even more to see why we get to this point. Anyways, it's all Gospel Friday. It's Family Friday. We're going to talk a little bit on some of the things that we are going to share with you. They're light conversations. Let's have them. Ladies.
Do you want to be a wife?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any other people in the audience who want to be a wife? I'm going to have a deep conversation.
All right. Let's see if we
can. For y'all right now. Okay. You have to prepare yourself to be a wife. You said you do want to be a wife?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have any other people in the audience who want to be a wife? I'm going to have a deep conversation with y'all right now. You have to prepare yourself to be a wife. If you want to get into your Ruth era, you have to get out of your Jezebel era. Let me say this real quick. I'm going to be biblically sound for just a minute. If you're not a believer, cover your ears. If you want to get into that space of really being a virtuous woman, the behaviors that you have, even in dealing with somebody, should be leading that person closer to God. But if you are playing with a person and toying with a person's emotions, if you all are not even equally yoked, you all don't even have the same value or the same desire or the same purpose, leave them alone. Because if you are to prepare yourself for a wife, then you can't be making foolish decisions. That's all Proverbs, baby. You got to get into your word, honey. I understand. I know it's always a fun time to say, hey, let's do this, let's date, let's do all this stuff. But every time you are connecting with a different person, you are connecting with their demons as well. You don't want to keep on attaching these things onto you, because when your husband does find you, then he has to navigate all of these demons. I encourage you to truly start working on yourself, working on your faith, working on your insides. I said just yesterday, the Bible tells us to adorn ourselves. That means on the inside of us. I'm not talking about the physical and what you have in your clothes and your status. On the inside of you, where will he be able to find and see God in you? Because that's what a man is supposed to be able to find when he finds his wife. Baby, I understand you young, and I know people always tell you enjoy your youth, and you absolutely should, but be wise in your youth as well.
All right. That one stings a little bit, I think.
No, it's a fact. When I listen to the conversation, there's a phrase that is thrown around really about being comfortable with your singleness and being okay with you first before you enter into a long-term relationship. And it's a similar, so it takes preparation to be a wife. And she said the mentality has to change. And when you think about exposing yourself to demons, that's
another factor altogether.
Yes.
The part about it is that when that I latch on to also in Elise is the point that she made about she need to prepare herself to become a wife, the young lady. I would want to extend that not to the young lady who needs to prepare herself to be a wife, but there must be a preparation way of life in terms of there's mothering, and mothers must be able to, or the family, and if it extends itself to the very important part of our society that is the light bearer, that knows the function of what family and the importance of family, it should have something in there deliberately embedded that families, because families make up communities, and communities make up society. And so because of that, we would want to, in this community, ensure that we foster training ability or the training of young people, not just to be wives, but to be husbands as well. Sorry, not the ladies to be husbands. Hold on, let me fix that. Because people hear me say that a while ago. I know it's on, I know. No, I know. I said it a while ago, and I know as I finished saying it, I heard it.
Ouch.
And so I want to just make it clear. Husbands are only men. I want to just be clear on that, because I knew as I said it, because we're talking about young ladies and preparing them to be wives, and I said not only preparing them to be wives, but also preparing them to be husbands. I may have just, disenfranchised the ladies a little bit. So I want to clarify quickly, guys, where I'm not referring to the ladies to be husbands. I'm referring to the young men to be trained as husbands to marry these beautiful women that we have in our society. So we don't want to disenfranchise anyone, but we have to be careful to make sure we put in place that rudimental training, deliberate action that will take effect mentally, emotionally, and psychologically in the minds of our youngsters that are coming up now, to train them how to become a better version of themselves, maybe better than us, because we now know some of the mistakes that we have made. We don't want our kids to make those mistakes. But ironically, we have looked at a society that has gone spiraling out of control, and we have been saying these kids are so different from us when we were growing up, and they're so this and they're so that. And I want to submit to you that I grew up, and it's only what I could get away with that I could have gotten away with. My parents would have made sure that I couldn't get away with more than this. And so for your children to be getting away with so much, it means you have been doing a very poor job. It's an indictment on parenting to see the kids of our day-to-day behaving so badly. I cannot put it anywhere else. I'm not going to blame social media for all of it. while social media have its place to be blamed and all the rest of medias, but I want to put it on parenting, a strong foundation and no nonsense. You want to make your children your friends and it don't work. There's no friendship in this. And so you have to be clear that you're a parent and you're not a friend. Alright, so having said that, at least if you have something else to add, then add it, or we just go on to our next clip.
Yes, let's go on to our very next clip.
Alright.
There's something I've been longing to tell you. Alright. When I got involved in the road accident, you were by my side. When I got admitted to the hospital, I stayed there for 10 days, you were by my side. When I got fired at work, you were by my side. When my landlord locked me outside, you were by my side. Like, all these things happened when I was with you by my side.
And I promise you that I will always be by your side.
Not anymore.
Why?
Because you have a bad luck.
That's an interesting, that's a perspective, right? That's a perspective.
I thought one would just make a difference. It's funny. We are for time. It's all Family Friday. It's Gospel Friday. It's all Family Friday as well, guys. We want to discuss the family and the unity.
I mean, that shows dedication. When persons take the marriage vow, it says in sickness and in health, for better, for worse. Yes, till death do us part. Right? and to find that this young lady has been with him, but it seemed to be that it's always in the worst, based on what he's saying. It's not for better. So he's going to change the equation a bit. He says,
you're just pure bad
luck. Bad luck.
All right, so let's go to that topic of sticking with each other through thick and thin.
Yes.
We're just going to not use that one, all right, guys? That's just for laugh. So let's just use it for the laughing part of it. So the comedy in there is good. Nothing is wrong with that. But we want to say that in the marriage scenario, it is important. Sometimes it's not going as well as you think it should. And so, not just walking away is not a bad idea, because there's a story that was told about a man who went to Oberman for his field. Everybody, two friends have planting products and the crops, and his field growing up and his one not growing up. Mm-hmm. And he knows that's something that the man do, and Obia field, that's why his field not growing. They went to the Oberman and asked the Oberman to Obia him fame, Obia the man there. He said, well, if you want me to Obia him, what you have to do is you have to give me a bucket of sweat. And so if you give me a bucket of sweat, I will use that sweat that you produce to Obia him, because that's what it requires. That is the price of Obia in that man. And so he said, he set off on this journey. He said, all right, I'm going to Obia him because he might do me this. That's why. And so he went up and he started sweating. He worked and he sweat, and he worked and he sweat, and he worked and he sweat. And so when he went back to the Oberman, the Oberman said, you have to give me a next bucket of sweat so we can finish the process. And he went back to the field and started working again, harder than before. He looked at the bucket of sweat and to go back to the Oberman and looked at the field that was now flourishing. I said, but me don't want the Oberman to do not to disturb this now. Then nobody go back to the Oberman. He said, Oberman, I don't want you to trouble nothing now, because it seems as if whatever it is that you do already, it working.
By the sweat of your brow, man.
We shall eat bread. So, sometimes we try to blame others for the demises of our situations or for us, when it is just us that is actually causing our own demise or our own situation, our own problems. If we just stop for a moment and figure it out that we should, So I'm saying that and I would say this right away, that work was given to Adam in the Garden of Eden. And so while work was given to Adam, Eve was given the helpmate, or the woman was given the helpmate position to help him. And so to help him, she will help. And so it means that she's not going to sit down lazy and not idle. She's going to help him to work. So while work was given to him, she must help him work on the projects that he is doing.
Yes.
This is what it is. And so we have a scenario that says men work and women don't, and they are housewives and they sit at home. But that's not true. Because the hardest work that I ever see is women who are at home work. That even the ones who go to the office and are executives don't work as hard. And I'm proposing what you call an intervention in a salary scale for women who are at home to be paid. Whether it's from the society or whatever, allowing this, what you call, this fund to be available. So I'm not supporting the idea that it's only for the husband alone. Society should see this and respond to it in a positive way, to say women who are at home, working at home with their husbands, should be given this amount of money as a standard. You know, like when you have like what you call, how we have that, what we call minimum wage. You have that, it's just minimum wage. But this is not just minimum wage. We're not talking about minimum wage for women. We're talking about an idea of setting in place. You give alimony to women, but you don't want to give them housewife benefit. You see where I'm going? And so the alimony is paid by the man, of course. But if the society who is willing to pay the women to stay out of the relationship with the men, as you know, a lot of women get paid money to stay away from. If the man is in the house, they don't get the money. If they're taking the children, taking care of the children by themselves, they get paid to do it. But if the husband is in the house, or the man who have those children is in the house, no money coming to that woman. So you pay the woman to keep the man out of the house. And that is something that is very interesting. So that allowance could be enacted within the household while that woman is at home and the husband is at home and the man is at home. Then I believe that the family unit would have been much stronger. Wives at home would be they would be seen as the less fortunate and the disenfranchised. In fact, they would have the best deal in the home because they would get to work at home and enjoy their home at the same time. So I'm proposing that for all women who are married and not wish to be, because married women are responsible for the children and the family. It's just what it is. And so in this scenario, you would be benefited from just being married and you are not disenfranchised because you don't go out and get a job from some other person to do something very important, less important than taking care of your children. Because there's no job that is more important than taking care of your family, as a man or as a woman, either way. And responsibility, when he works so hard sometimes, he don't have enough time to spend with his family, is to make sure his family is okay, financially and otherwise. And this is what I'm saying in that regard.
Well said, Mikey G.
I'm waiting for you to add your piece there.
No. I mean, you have said it well. You have said it well, and I listen to what you're saying, and I am in total agreement with your thoughts that you shared. Before we share the other clip, I just want to give a quick update regarding what is the latest release from the National Hurricane Center located in Miami. And this is the 7 a.m. update for the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of America. Near the southeastern United States, showers and thunderstorms have increased in association with an area of low pressure located about 100 miles off the northeast Florida coast. Environmental conditions are forecast to be marginally conducive for further development, and a short-lived tropical or subtropical depression could form late today or on Saturday while the system drifts northward. This low is expected to move inland over the southeastern U.S. Saturday night or early Sunday. Regardless of the development, heavy rainfall is possible across portions of west central and southwestern Florida through early Saturday and across coastal sections of the Carolinas beginning Saturday, later on Saturday. An Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft scheduled to investigate the system later today. Formation chance through 48 hours are medium at 60%, and through 7 days, medium also at 60%. And this is the latest update coming to us from the National Hurricane Center. So there is what we call what's happening now. It's a hurricane season, started the 1st of June. We have been monitoring closely what's happening. So persons that are in the Florida area will experience rain this weekend as they're monitoring this system. So Florida and also the Carolinas. So yes, it's all Gospel Friday right here on the Breakfast Hour, and we're having a conversation. Very interesting one. We played 2 short clips just now. The latter one is a funny one. Yeah. That one.
I thought I just mix it up a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Bring a little energy to that idea, you know. Because every now and then, you know, somebody else will see something a lot different than how we see.
All right, so let's
get to the next one. Let's see.
Yes.
All Jamaicans living in the diaspora. This is Peter Gracie, your Global Jamaica Diaspora Council. All Jamaicans living in the diaspora. This is Peter Gracie, your Global Jamaica Diaspora Council representative for the Southern United States. And I come to you today with urgent news that you need to hear. Just moments ago, the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a decision that could directly impact thousands of Jamaican families across America, especially those with children born in the U.S. The court ruled that lower courts can no longer block federal policies for the entire country, even if those policies may be illegal or unconstitutional. And the policy in question, an executive order signed by President Donald Trump earlier this year, ending birthright citizenship for children born in the U.S. to non-citizen parents. Under this new executive order, if you're not a U.S. citizen or permanent resident and you give birth in the United States, your child may not automatically become a U.S. citizen. Before today, judges in places like Maryland and California had stepped in to stop the order using something they call a nationwide injunction. That means the policy was blocked across all 50 states, no matter where you live. But the Supreme Court just said no more, that done, that over. Now, those blocks only apply in specific court regions where they were filed. So if your state doesn't have an active legal case against this policy, the order can take effect immediately, and that puts your child's future at risk. Let me give you some real-world examples. In Florida, home to one of the largest Jamaican population in America, the executive order may now be enforced unless a new case is filed. In Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and other southern states where many of us live and work, in hospitality, education, home care, trucking, farming, healthcare, the same threat now looms. But in more progressive states like New York and California, courts may still be blocking the order within their region. That means a Jamaican child born in New York may still be protected, while one born in Florida may not. This is the definition of inequality, in my opinion. If a child legal status, whether they are accepted as an American or not, should never depend on their zip code. Now let me break this down a little more simply. An injunction is a court order that stops something from happening while it's being reviewed. For years, when presidents introduced questionable policies, courts could block them nationwide. But this new ruling says that they can now only block policies for the people involved in the cases, not for the entire country. So unless you or your state take legal action, your child may not be protected. Let me be clear, this ruling does not mean the executive order is officially law as yet. The big legal fight over whether it's constitutional is still ahead, but the protections are fading away. But what can you do? Get informed, know the laws and policies in your state, and talk to your community leaders. Share this message with every Jamaican parents in the US because they need to hear it. If you're worried or affected, call the Consulate General of Jamaica in Miami at 305-374-8431. They are here to guide and support you through these uncertain times. Jamaican people have always fought hard to give their children better opportunities. We came to America with hope, with faith, and with dreams. Let's not sit quietly while those dreams are threatened. We must stay united, we must stay alert, and we must protect our children, not just today, but for generations to come.
All right, well, that one is for information, so I don't have a lot to say on this one. Just a matter of just making sure that we understand the policies or the facts that are actually taking place, right?
Yes, if which country you're in, whether you're in the Cayman Islands or in Jamaica, your home goal, as the gentleman says, he says, is to take care of our families, take care of our children, and protect them. And one of the ways in which we can protect them and take care of them is to be informed, right? Knowing what the laws are, the changes, and how it impacts your family, and how you can prepare for this impact and how you can manage the consequence for you and your family. Because the fact is, we talk about the world being a village, a global village, and it seems sometimes that the village is shrinking.
Very, very smart.
And persons from the beginning of time have moved. Remember the story of Ruth and Naomi. Remember Moses. Remember children of Israel. Remember Jesus being born somewhere else. People have always, it's nothing new. People move from place to place to get better for themselves and for their family. And so as you do that with a certain knowledge. What we can recognize that people go away. Just like the olden days, people travel away to take care of their family. They travel and they're seafarers in the Cayman Islands.
People used to travel by sea, yes.
Go on for months. They're at sea taking care. It's not that they have left their family. We know about men in war who have gone for years, maybe, fighting the battle, and it's all about taking care of their family. Some of them, yes, they start a new life. That's a different conversation, but the impact of the move, people always move. How does it impact your family? Think about, is it for the good or is it for the bad? Is it making life better or is it making life worse? That's a conversation that we certainly, but the key is to know what you're getting involved in and know what the impact will be on your family members, your children, etc.
Mouthful being said, Lady Elise. Like I say, this is way of information for you to be aware and to be informed. These are laws that are being put in place or will affect individuals or every person across the globe, no matter who you are. Whether be and this is why we say Jamaicans. Why the young man says Jamaican a while ago. I think it means that every person who is living in the United States with the same classification stands to have the same effect on them as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
But I think he was just being specific to Jamaicans because he has this he has a need to talk about Jamaicans because he wants to bring awareness to this population, this group of persons.
Yes.
Having said that, it's a sad day to see some of these things that are happening, but I guess each country must do the things that it benefits them the most. And I would add that to my conversation. If I'm in Jamaica and Jamaica is a place that I choose to reside, I would want Jamaica to do the things that make me secure and safe. So whatever that is, I would just say it's information for us to hear. However you want to use it, you can. Flashpoint only bring the information. All right.
Yes.
With that said, I guess we can now go right into our next clip. I think this is our final one. And of course we can wrap up for the evening.
Well, let's go to a short break, and then we come back, and of course we have our birthday celebration that we need to. So let's take a short break, and then let's have the conversation.
When you need ultrasound that's safe and effective, you must visit Asai Ultrasound Imaging. They're conveniently located at number 4 Chestnut Center, Smith Road, Georgetown, Cayman Islands. With experienced technologists with over 20 years experience, their friendly staff will make you comfortable while you get your procedure done. Asai Ultrasound Imaging is open Mondays to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Call Asai Ultrasound Imaging 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. That's 345-949-2454 or 345-938-3426. Need help to produce your podcast? Flashpoint Media makes it very easy. We can relieve you of the headache by recording your podcast for you. So, take the first step to getting your content to your desired audience. Contact us here at Flashpoint and your podcast will be live in no time. Our website is www.flashpointmedia.ky or call us at 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969.
Welcome back. It's the breakfast hour, of course. You're joining myself and Lady Elise, Mikey G, in the studios of Flashpoint. Lady Elise, good morning to you as well, and of course to our listening audience or viewing audience. Our listening audience on our web radio at www.flashpointmedia.ky, and of course our viewing audience who are on various platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and of course TikTok, and sometimes. All right, so I'm not thinking that we're on TikTok all the time, but you can catch us on TikTok. Several of our shorts or clips and some of our short videos will be put there as well. And so I want to say good morning to you. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to Flashpoint Media. And of course, this morning we're doing All Gospel Friday all day today on our web radio. We'll be all gospel. And today, this morning, our breakfast hour is about family. So we're touching a little bit on the family, what affects the family. And of course, migration affects the family in so many ways, Lady Elise. So when persons choose to go away and go abroad, there are a few things that happen to the children or the family. One, the children, if you're not careful and have a strong spouse at home with the kids, they will find themselves being disenfranchised and find themselves in gang-related matters. young ladies find themselves sometimes in prostitution or become pregnant earlier than usual. These are some of the things that happen when people travel abroad and try to make a better life for their families. Second to that is if mother and father leave children alone, then the money that you remit and send back home usually buys the ammunition for the police officers and the soldiers to shoot your children. And so I want you to understand that these are facts, truth, and I will not lie to you. This is a reality that we do, because they would have been growing up without parents, they would have been not guided and been misguided, and then there are some little thugs and woodlims that would take control of your kids and train them to do things that you know you didn't want your children to do, but then they end up in that, and your money finance their demise from a distance. So we have to make some serious choices when it comes on to our children. Are we going to leave them unattended, or do we leave them in this way? And so if you have a strong parent at home with your kids, all right, fine. It is not good for the man to be without the woman, or the woman to be without the man. And this is a statement. I'm not going to support the argument anywhere else. But here is the reality of our lives. We have to travel from sea to land to shore to sometimes find a better living for our existence. And so the people in the United States of America migrated in droves, landed in the United States back in the early centuries, and started a brand new life, because where they were was a disaster. They didn't want to live that life anymore. They were oppressed and oppressed people, and they wanted to get away from that crisis lifestyle. And now they are in a better position because they have created another situation for themselves. And I believe that every person needs to follow suit and understand that this is possible also for you as an individual. All right? Having said that, it is tough choices that we make that makes things better. Don't envy anyone for what they have, because you don't know what they go through to achieve it, and so you want to receive it, and you don't know what they went through to have it. That's not supposed to be your go-to for that one. All right, so having said that, Lady Elise, I don't know if you want to chime in there on anything that you want to say, but that's what my 2 cents on that matter is all about.
Well said, Michael G. You have been hitting the nail on the head again. Just want to remind our listeners and viewers before we get out of studio, it's almost that time of morning. We want to thank you for joining us today and sticking and staying all week. We have had a rich experience, rich programs, and we welcome your input. If you want to send us a message, we can send us a message via WhatsApp on 345-321-6969. That's 345-321-6969. And of course, we will be more than happy to listen to your comments and share them. Now, today is celebrated, the big day that's celebrated today is Independence Day. I'm actually looking on the national calendar, which is what we share usually, so that we can have our listeners aware of what is celebrated on the international level. And of course, the most popular would be Independence Day. But also note that today is Jackfruit Day.
I love jackfruit. I love jackfruit. I know many persons, I didn't like it at some point when I was growing up because so much stain on it, it's sitting up my mouth all the time, you know. But, you know, it messes with me a little, you know. It's like adhesive for lips, you know. So it's as if you just sometimes probably use the jackfruit as an example. Say nothing. Probably sometimes it's good.
Today is actually...
So I'm practicing some of that, you know. Sometimes I see some things and I probably just don't say anything because you want it to play. Sometimes not saying anything allows the situation to play out. Leave it, let it happen, you know. Leave it alone.
Yeah. It's actually National Independence from Meat Day.
Independence from?
Meat.
Wow. What does that mean? What does that look like? You mean like nobody eating meat? You're no vegetarian? Is that what it means?
No.
Why is that?
Good for your planet, even good for the budget. Every year, more people are embracing the vegetarian and vegan lifestyle, both for the increased health benefits that come from eliminating or limiting meat from their diet, and for the moral and environmental implications that come from doing so. Even if you're practically an obligate carnivore, independence from meat day is your opportunity to try a different kind of cuisine that focuses on not eating cute, harmless animals.
Ja. I hope that's not that. I'm not going to go there. I'm done. I'm not going to go there.
All right, so let's go into the history of this day. Because
all right, go ahead and let's hear this story.
It's no surprise that independence from meat day falls when it does, on one of the most popular days in the world for grilling meat outside.
Grilling the meat. I don't know. Have you ever grilled any meat? You ever grilled meat? All right, go ahead. Guess that is fair.
Avid vegans and vegetarians are firm believers that eating meat is akin to an addiction and the worst possible thing for our bodies and for the environment. While science doesn't hold out that eating meat is in and of itself dangerous to us by default, there are some strong arguments to be made, particularly as regards grilled meat. On the part of being a danger to the world, however, there's a whole lot of evidence to back it up. After all, the sheer amount of water used in the production of commercial levels of meat and animal products is utterly immense as the sheer amount of land it takes. It's actually been estimated that cow flatulence accounts for more greenhouse gas emissions than every car in the world combined. That's more than a little significant. Okay, so they're twin independence.
Go again with that. Okay. I know you can rewind it, but this is for my purposes.
So they're saying, listen, independence from meat day is today. I was trying to find when it all started, but they tried to twin it with Independence Day because so many persons are grilling outside. So they're suggesting that grilled vegetables, veg has a stigma of being boring and not as delicious as meat. Of course, this isn't true. The trick is to treat it with the same love, care, and attention. So you season your vegetarian meals and mix it with some tasty sauces and invite the whole family, because today is actually, in the national calendar, National Independence from Meat Day.
Okay. Well, all right. So I believe that a vegetarian diet is a diet that one must adhere to. And when I still eat meat, I will say this. Unfortunately.
Yes.
But I realize that every time, and I'm going to go to our regular physicians or doctors or practitioners in healthcare, right? And you'll have a patient and you'll see a patient for so long. And then now the patient treatment requires some change of diet. Not you're treating them all the time, but the treatment landed them in a point where only a change of diet can bring them back, not the treatment that you used to give. So why did we start at change of diet immediately than treatment? Or while the treatment, change of diet is introduced. Yes, in China, I think in China, children are given vegetables. They love vegetables over any other food. Just naturally. I don't know why, but it's something that I was.
That's training.
That's training. And so we are trained not to love it. And when we are sick, and when we are sick, that's when the doctors are telling you that you need to change your diet. Not before. And I could submit that if less meat or no meat at all, you possibly wouldn't get sick so easily. And I'm not saying that persons who have a vegetarian diet don't get sick, because I've seen people who just have strict vegetarian diet do get cancers as well. This happens. I've seen this. but I'm still looking at why these things happen to people with strict vegetarian diets. And I'm looking at some of the foods that we are eating, and there are some chemical, enhancement of some of these foods. There are some chemicals that are used on some of these foods, and it's a dangerous thing. I'm going to bring one of our week's episodes about chemicals that our women, black women especially, not just black women, but black women, because they are more prone to do this. Chemicals that they have been using, how it affects you as an individual. So we'll bring one of those features for you. Next week we want to talk a little bit more about mothers who raise the men and the husbands of other women. And so we want to talk about that next week a little bit. So you can catch me on next week's episode of All Gospel Friday. I'm Family Friday for that one.
And so let's share the final video.
Final video to be shared. Let's do it when we come back. Yes. All right.
To a happy marriage, especially for you ladies, is listen to your husband, respect him, allow him to be the man he can be. Man, shut up! Allow him to talk.
I'm still like,
oh boy. Oh no. All right. Here's where I'm going to go with this one. It is really true that what she's saying. And I want to tell you that this is the general consensus of most of our ladies. He must be allowed. These are the words that you must listen to. He must be allowed to talk. Allow him, ladies. I don't need no allowance from my lady to speak. And that's what I want to say to our men today. Don't go for any allowances from your lady to speak. Speak because you must speak, because you can. Not because you're allowed to do it. You're a man. And so, ladies, you're not going to do it because you're allowed either. And so those privileges are both normal for you to be. But I can't be allowed to be the man, and you can't be allowed to be the woman. These concepts of thinking are just flawed. And where did you get these things from? And so I would say you don't allow a lion to be a liar. It's just a lion because it was born like that. I'm not allowed to be a man because I was born a man. And so we are having this narrative, and I go to we shoot out last night on the Flash Talks, and we narrowed that concept and this conceptualizing of allowing men to be men from feminism. And we pointed out feminism is no different than fascism, communism, socialism, or any other ism that is created by someone. And don't be mistaken, feminism is not gender specific or sex specific in this sense. It bears the mark of men creating this thing and women for women, and it is a big thing that goes on to disrupt a lot of things, right? But let's look at it what it is. And so I use this conversation this morning to share with our men and our women that no one can allow you to do or be anything that you are. You're going to be the mothers without anybody telling you you're a mother. If somehow somebody feed you some genetic modified something, foods or some chemical in your system that prevents you from becoming fertile, or to the men, you from becoming fertile that you can't impregnate your woman, then that's another matter altogether. But we know this. Or by virtue of sin, natural occurrence, without any influences from scientific, biological, or otherwise, then this is also true. Not being able to do it don't dismiss you from being a man or being a woman. That's what I want to put on the table this morning, ladies. I hope I could just, I hope I'm just doing this one, and I believe.
You're serving it hot, Mikey G. But while you're serving it hot, it's time for us to get out of studio while the breakfast is still warm. I don't want us to be cold.
Well, I would like to hear you chime in on that a little bit, and then you just drop out.
I do agree with you. But what I have to always go back to the situation that the men do come and ask for the permission, and the men find themselves in a situation sometimes that they aren't even sure what their roles are, and they require the leading of the woman. They actually depend on the woman to take the lead. So unless the societal norms recalibrate, I'll use that word, recalibrate, then it's not something that we're going to just solve. We're having a conversation about it. But the situation is that the men are raised to require the supervision too, and they're not even sure. Their feet aren't steady on the foundation. So, and that is the real situation. I don't think that your girl's going to nip it in the bud. It's going to take a concerted effort and a deliberate effort to change the way people think, and for us to go back to the template that was laid out for us. So that's my position on that. I don't know.
Well, having said that, ladies, there's nothing more I can add or subtract.
Don't add anything or subtract anything.
just you saying that, all I would say is, why not adding anything? Not adding anything to what you said. Is that we hope that the men are listening and our women are listening, that we are disenfranchising each other one way or another. Or mothers who have raised your son to be like that, when another woman treats him with that disrespect, you are upset. Why?
We have to be the change we want to see. That's where we go back to it. So in our little decisions that we make for our family members, our children, our husbands, our wives, how we relate to them, how we love them and care for them, that's the same conversation we had last night. That translates now how we made the change one step at a time. Can you imagine? There were maybe about 9 of us on the panel last evening, or on the group discussion, on the Flash Talk, on the Flash Fam. Flash family were about, can you imagine 9 families impacting another 9 and another 9 and another 9? That's how we start the conversation, yes. And that's how we be the change. I know it's time for us to get out of studio. I must say a happy birthday to a good friend of mine before we go.
Right, yeah. Happy birthday.
Yes, so Sandra Legister, we have been friends for many moons. I want to wish her a happy birthday. May the Lord continue to bless and keep you. I will call you. I wish you all the best for your birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Sandra. Compleanno feliz. Alright, so happy birthday is out the way, and of course it's time for us to get out of studio this morning. I hope this morning's experience was wholesome. I hope you had fun with us this morning. I mean, yeah, why not? Conversation is always good. I believe that we shared some very good intel this morning.
Yes.
Solid advice. You know what I think about advice, though. Here is I'm going to give you some advice, and I'm giving them to you because I am not using them anymore.
And if you're in the Florida area, bring your umbrella.
Yes.
Remember to keep check on the weather, Florida, and also the Carolinas, because there's a system that's being monitored, and you will have some rain over the weekend. If you're in the U.S., happy Independence. On Monday coming up, it will be Constitution Day, public holiday in Grand Cayman. Have yourself a beautiful day. Thank you for being with us on the Breakfast Hour. Special good morning to Lady Patricia Hill. I hope you also have a wonderful day. All our listeners and viewers scattered all over the world, have a beautiful Friday. May the Lord bless you abundantly more than you can ever ask, think, or imagine.
All right, guys, continue to enjoy Flashpoint today. It's All Gospel Friday. Of course, go to our web radio at www.flashpointmedia.py. All right, so having said that, have yourself a wonderful Friday. It's preparation day for those who know what that means, and the Sabbath drew on. And so catch us later on when we have the open portal once again. Of course, we'll be going down to the East End Seventh-day Adventist Church to look at what's happening on that side of the world later on this evening. Of course, the open portal comes up at 6 o'clock in the p.m. by the man himself, Pastor Marquino Ferran, right here on Flashpoint. Of course, throughout the day, we'll have you some great, awesome music and lots of program and fun stuff to do. And so stick and stay with Flashpoint. We have much more to come. Have yourself a great day, guys. A beautiful one. And stay dry.
And you're listening to Flashpoint Radio, Rise and Shine, your morning boost of inspiration, news, and fun. With Mikey G, Lady Elise, and Coralie Karen, the unmistakable combination, synergized to navigate.
It's like we're running in circles, going around every day, getting stuck in the hurdles of yesterday. Don't you wanna go further away from the fray? Let's not get stuck in our worries, we'll make our own way. Won't you come outside where the sunflowers bloom? Breathe in the air, look up to the moon. I'll meet you outside, away from the crowd, just you and me together. We'll all sleep there outside, just us in the sky.
There are two things I do know right now. One, you're listening to Flashpoint Radio. Number two, you ain't gonna keep it to yourself. Flashpoint Radio. Internet comes alive. Inspiration? In a class by itself.